Well, now that we have some warmer temperatures and pretty weather coming up, we have a great afternoon activity to tell you about, and that is the sculptures down on Polk Street, right? Now, what's the name of the actual park?
Sculpture Fields at
Sculpture
Montague Park.
Field. Now, there's two new sculptures that have just went in. Do you want to tell me about them, Isaac?
Yes, there's one which is the least amount of space by Jason Kimes. Jason's from Mississippi area. It weighs about 5,500 pounds, and it's made of 18,000 pieces of cut Corten steel rod, which is about 1 inch in diameter. And it's actually our first contemporary full figurative piece.
Okay, yeah, that is huge. I was just looking at that, and that is quite a large sculpture. Now, the second one that is just going in, you want to tell me about that?
That one is Khalid Iron.
I knew I couldn't say the name. That's why I let you do it.
Thank you. And that's by George Beasley. George Beasley is a sculptor and professor emeritus from Georgia State University. He actually created a piece for the Olympics in Atlanta at 5 Points. And that's created out of cast iron plates, galvanized steel framing, and nickel bronze wedges and wood. And that piece is a huge piece. It's about 17 feet long, 9 feet high, 12 feet wide. And it looks like you just walked in onto old ruins, and a bunch of people were trying to elevate or tilt a wall, and they just like vanished.
Wow, I can see that. I can definitely see that. And now, Isaac, you're also a sculptor.
Yes,
so
I
tell
am.
me about your involvement with the field.
Okay. I'm on the board of Sculpture Fields. I'm actually one of the first founders for the park, board member wise. Actually, the two founders are actually Pamela and John Henry that came up with the idea. And I sculpt here in Chattanooga, and one of the things I like to do is also the chair of the education committee. So we give tours, we like to give tours. Usually we give tours to schools and organizations, large group tours, and I pretty much head that.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so tell me what else we can look forward to seeing. You mentioned during the break that there's over 30 different sculptures.
Right. We have about 35 pieces at the present time, and we have about another 12 or so that's coming in from a show that's in Canada. The Sculpture Park is an international sculpture park, so we have members or artists from all over, and we display their work at the park for everybody to enjoy. And we want to make sure that everybody knows it's free, it's open to the public, and it's open from dawn to dusk.
Wow.
And it's beautiful weather, so it's a great time to walk around the walking paths and look at some new artwork.
Absolutely. What a perfect afternoon, date idea or family idea. Where do you come? Do artists submit their work for the field, or do you kind of recruit, or how does this process work?
Some artists do solicit us. We go through and look at their work about twice a year. However, most of the pieces there are invited pieces. Being our sculpture, a newer sculpture park in the area, one of the things that we wanted to do is make sure that we had artists that are known and artists that have a great repertoire, resume, portfolio of works that's out there. So for aspiring artists, emerging artists, the park would not be the place. However, for artists that have been out there for a long time, showing and have been getting recognized, this is the park.
So if someone wanted to have a school trip out there or have a group visit or maybe even host an event, what's the best way to find more information or get in contact with you all?
Best thing to do is to contact Kathy Foldrum. She's our interim executive director, and they can reach us through our email or our website, which is www.sculpturefields.org. And all that information will be there.
Okay, so last question real quick, but you mentioned that the park hasn't been around for too long. But what was kind of the inspiration to offer this to Chattanooga?
The inspiration was really John Henry and Pamela Henry. They have a facility not that far from the park. Actually, it backs up to the park. And one day, John looked out his back window and saw grown up fields that had dogs and rabbits and homeless people and a bunch of bushes just back there. So he thought, well, there's nothing going on with this property. It would be a great place for a sculpture park. And he started to talk to then Mayor Corker, and then it wasn't until Ron Littlefield got to be mayor that everything really actually started to gel.
Turn it into something beautiful.
Yes.
All right, Isaac, thanks so much for joining us. So make sure you get out and check out the sculpture field while we have this pretty weather. The address is 1800 Polk Street. For more information, if you want to take a group out there, give them a call. Isaac, thanks for joining us.
Great, thank you very much.
We'll